This is Sneha.
And this is Atish.
And welcome back to our channel, Life and Books. You are watching our series, Quote That Stayed With Me.
And today, we're going over a very famous quote from Charles Dickens' novel, Hard Times. And that classical quote is, "There is a wisdom of the head, and there is a wisdom of the heart." I actually picked this quote for a school project, but then I realized I wasn't totally sure what it meant. So, Mom, I figured we could explore it together.
Perfect. Let's start with the first part, the wisdom of the head. What do you think Dickens meant by that?
Well, I guess that's the kind of wisdom we usually think of when we say someone's smart, like logic, facts, reasoning, maybe even strategy. The stuff you use to solve math problems or make a plan.
Exactly. The wisdom of the head is the rational kind. It's about analysis, thinking critically, making judgments based on evidence. It's the kind of intelligence that our schools, our workplaces tend to reward.
Right. So then, the wisdom of the heart must be something totally different, like feelings, intuition.
Yes, but it's not just emotions. Heart wisdom includes empathy, compassion, and the ability to understand people, not just situations. It's what helps us connect, forgive, and make choices that align with our values and not just what's efficient.
So, it's kind of like the head tells you what's smart, but the heart, it tells you what's right.
That's a great way to put it.
But it's weird because in school, we're always told to use your head. Teachers never say use your heart unless it's kindness week or something.
That's true. Society often celebrates the mind because it's easier to measure your grades, test scores, your success. But the heart's wisdom shows up in how we treat people, how we listen, how we handle failure. Those things are harder to quantify, but they are what make life meaningful.
Yeah, and I've noticed that sometimes being too logical can actually make you less wise. Like, if someone's upset and I just want to fix their problem logically, they don't want that. They just want me to listen.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. The head wants to solve and the heart wants to understand.
Mm.
They both are useful, but the timing matters.
So, you think Dickens meant we need both kinds of wisdom?
Definitely. Think about it like this: the head can design the map, but the heart really decides where you want to go. If you follow only your head, you might end up being successful but empty.
Mm.
If you follow only your heart, you might end up being lost. Balance is the key.
That actually reminds me of something I read about AI. Machines can process information way faster than us humans, but they don't have empathy. They can come up with logical decisions, but not humane.
That's a brilliant connection. It's the difference between intelligence and wisdom. Wisdom involves judgment, timing, and compassion. Qualities that come from the heart, not from the mind.
So maybe the wisdom of the heart is actually what makes us truly human.
I think Dickens would agree with that. He lived in the Victorian era, a time obsessed with progress, reason, and industry. But he saw how people's heart were often forgotten in the process, especially the poor, the children, the marginalized. His quote was a reminder that intellect without empathy can become cruelty disguised as reason.
Hmm. That's insightful. It kind of makes me wonder, in the future, how do I know which wisdom to use when making big decisions?
I love that question. I would say listen to both, but don't let one silence the other. Start with your head, get the facts, weigh your options, then check in with your heart. Does this feel right? Does it align with who I want to be? If both say yes, that's when you have found real wisdom.
So it's not either or, it's both.
Exactly. The best leaders, thinkers, and friends use both. The head gives clarity, but the heart gives the direction.
You know what's funny? When I first read this quote, I thought it was just something poetic. But now, it feels like advice for life.
That's what great literature does. It gives you language for truths you haven't lived yet, but one day you will.
Wow, that's another quote worthy line right there.
I hope Dickens would approve.
Before we wrap up, I want to share my takeaways. For me, the wisdom of the mind is like the science of living, learning how things work. But the wisdom of the heart, that's like the art of living, learning why things matter.
Beautifully said. For me, the head is what helps us survive, but the heart is what helps us belong. And when both work together, that's when humanity moves forward with grace.
I think that's the perfect note to end on.
Then let's end it here.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Life and Books. And don't forget, let your heart and head work together today.
Until next time, live life with gratitude and keep reading.
We'll see you in the next episode.